The snow fell softly outside the glass walls of the restaurant, each flake melting the moment it touched the warm golden light inside, as if even winter itself hesitated to linger too long here. On Christmas Eve, when laughter usually echoes and tables are filled with families leaning close to one another, one man sat alone at the center table, surrounded by empty chairs and untouched place settings. His name was Daniel Cross, a millionaire CEO admired by the world for his success, his intelligence, and his power, yet pitied by no one because no one could see the quiet ache that followed him everywhere. That night, as he stared at the candle flickering in front of him, it felt as if the flame was burning through his chest, reminding him that wealth could buy silence but not warmth, and success could fill headlines but not a heart. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected moments to change lives, take a second right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Daniel had built his empire from nothing, rising through sleepless nights and relentless ambition after losing his parents at a young age. Every Christmas since their passing had become something he endured rather than celebrated, a date circled on the calendar that reminded him of everything he no longer had. He told himself that working harder was the answer, that success would one day dull the pain, but the truth revealed itself every December when the city glowed with lights meant for families and lovers, not for men who had chosen boardrooms over living rooms. As he dined alone, memories pressed in on him, memories of childhood laughter, of simple meals shared around a small table, and of promises he once made to never let loneliness win, promises he had quietly broken. Across town, in a modest apartment where the heater barely worked, a single mother named Sarah Miller helped her twin daughters, Lily and Emma, into their worn winter coats. Sarah's life had been shaped by loss too, though hers came in the form of abandonment and struggle rather than sudden tragedy. She worked 2 jobs, smiled through exhaustion, and learned how to stretch a dollar until it nearly disappeared. Christmas Eve for her was not about gifts or decorations, but about keeping hope alive for her girls, even when she herself felt dangerously close to losing it. That night, after a long shift cleaning offices, Sarah decided to do something she had never done before. With the little money she had saved, she took her daughters to see the city lights and promised them a simple dinner somewhere warm, somewhere that felt special, even if only for an hour. Fate has a quiet way of arranging meetings that logic cannot explain. When Sarah and her daughters stepped into the same restaurant Daniel was sitting in, the contrast was impossible to ignore. Their coats were thin, their shoes scuffed, but their eyes sparkled with wonder as they took in the lights and decorations. The hostess hesitated, clearly unsure whether this small family belonged in a place where the plates cost more than a week of groceries. But Christmas Eve softened her judgment, and she led them to a table not far from Daniel's. He noticed them almost immediately, not because they were loud, but because they radiated something he had not felt in years, a fragile but powerful warmth that cut through the emptiness of the room. As Daniel ate in silence, his attention kept drifting toward the twins, who shared everything from their fries to their laughter, and toward Sarah, who watched them with tired eyes, full of love. He recognized that look, the look of someone carrying the weight of the world and still choosing to smile. It stirred something deep inside him, something he had buried under years of steel resolve and carefully constructed emotional walls. He told himself to focus on his meal, on the numbers waiting for him back at the office, but the more he tried, the louder his heart became. Sarah, meanwhile, struggled with her own fears. She worried the girls would notice the way she counted every bite, making sure there would be enough for them, or the way her hands trembled slightly when the bill eventually came. Still, she made the evening magical in the only way she knew how, by turning ordinary moments into memories. To Lily and Emma, this was not a fancy restaurant, but a palace filled with light, and their mother was the strongest woman in the world for bringing them here. The tension of the night built quietly, like music swelling beneath a film's most emotional scene. Daniel's loneliness and Sarah's struggle moved on parallel paths, inching closer without either realizing it. When the twins began to hum a soft Christmas tune they had learned at school, the sound drifted through the restaurant, gentle and imperfect, yet deeply sincere. It stopped Daniel mid-breath. The melody unlocked something he had kept sealed away since childhood. A memory of his mother singing while cooking dinner, of safety, of belonging. For the first time that night, his eyes burned not from exhaustion, but from tears he had refused to shed for years. In that moment, Daniel understood a truth that no business victory had ever taught him. He realized that loneliness was not the absence of people, but the absence of connection, and that connection often arrives unannounced, wearing ordinary faces and carrying ordinary struggles. The presence of that small family shifted the atmosphere around him, making the restaurant feel less like a monument to his success and more like a place where life still happened. As the evening unfolded, something subtle but powerful changed. Daniel felt the weight he carried grow lighter, not because his past had vanished, but because he was finally allowing himself to feel again. Sarah, too, felt an unfamiliar sense of peace, as if the universe was quietly acknowledging her resilience, even if it offered no grand reward just yet. The twins, unaware of the emotional current swirling around them, simply enjoyed being together, their laughter acting as a reminder that joy does not require perfection, only presence. By the time the snow outside thickened and the night neared its end, the loneliness that had defined Daniel's Christmas Eve no longer held the same power. He left the restaurant changed, carrying with him the image of a single mother and her daughters who had unknowingly given him the greatest gift he had received in years, the reminder that his heart was still capable of opening. Sarah and the girls returned home tired but happy, their simple outing becoming a cherished memory that would sustain them through harder days. Before this story reaches its ending, take a moment and comment below telling us who this story reminded you of, or what moment in your life restored your faith when you least expected it. And if this story touched your heart even a little, please like, share, and subscribe, because every interaction helps keep stories like this alive and reaching people who need them. On Christmas morning, Daniel woke up not to the usual emptiness, but to a quiet sense of hope. He knew his life would not magically transform overnight, and Sarah knew her struggles were far from over, but something invisible yet profound had shifted for all of them. Sometimes, the miracle of Christmas is not found in grand gestures or perfect endings, but in the simple act of hearts crossing paths at the right moment. If this story moved you, if it made you feel less alone, or reminded you of the power of compassion, please engage with this video